Alright guys, I guess I'm live. YouTube says I'm live. YouTube never lies, right? Internet never lies, so I'm live. Welcome to, or welcome back. This is live streams I do every weekend on Saturday morning. 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time here. Call it Hanging with Dave. Just the opportunity for the subscribers and whatnot to come out and hang out with me and whatnot. And I'll go through the comments that's been left on my videos. I talk about a little bit of tech news that's coming up, if I can find any, which today I'm kind of going to hit on what I hit on last week. The Ryzen 3 processors coming out. We finally got prices on them. Don't have a confirmed date on when they're going to be coming out, or I couldn't find one. But we do have it but we do have prices on them now, and I got quite a few comments to go through. So we're going to be hitting on that one article, and we're going to also be hitting on the comments pretty hard this week. A few disclaimers: I do drink me a cold Budweiser while I do the stream. Hope it don't offend you. I am a truck driver by trade, so you may hear me cuss a little bit. Cheers to the ones that's watching, if it's while I'm live or if it's as a video form, either way. For the ones that's here with me this morning, thank you for joining me. Go ahead and jump into the article here that I got. Like I said, I kind of touched on this last week a little bit. Let me flip you around here. There we go. This is from AnandTech. It's the AMD Ryzen 3 3300X and the Ryzen 3 3100. New low cost quad core Zen 2 processors for $99. We got pretty well the same information down here that we had last week. Besides, now we do have prices. The Ryzen 3 3100, 4 core 8 thread processor, 3.6 up to 3.9. But I believe last week we didn't have the base frequency either. 2 megabits of cache, L2 cache, 16 megabits of L3. They do support PCI Express 3 because it is a Ryzen 3 processor. They're both 65 watts. The 3100 is a $99 processor. The 3300X, pretty well the same stats all the way across, as it turbos up a little bit higher. Base frequency is 3.8, boost up to 4.3, and it's going for $120. Which it even talks about this down here below the chart. And like every weekend, you know, if you guys want to watch, if you guys want to go check out this article, description will be in the link below. Now, even at them prices, it's Ryzen 3, it's got a better IPC. But you also have the Ryzen 1600AF that's available. It's a 6-core 12-thread processor. It is Ryzen 2 based. Even though it carries the name from the first gen, it's actually 12-nanometer processor, and it's only $85. You get 6 cores and 12 threads compared to these 4-core 8-thread processors. So better IPC better. You know, better performance than the IPC, worth the extra $15-20 you're paying for these processors, and losing extra cores and extra threads. That depends on your workload. You know, to me, I think I'd rather go with the 1600F AF, but that's mainly for the more cores and more threads, which games are starting to use. Plus, I do a lot of video editing. I do a lot of photo creation, you know, my thumbnails and everything, on my pictures that you see when my photos come up, when my videos come up. So, you know, them extra cores and extra threads really help out with that kind of stuff. But that's kind of your personal preference. You know, if you want 6-core 12 thread, it's a little bit older. If you have to have that better IPC, which does help in gaming. You know, I'm not going to lie about that. It does help with gaming, so. And if you want to get the max frame rate, you know, we'll have to wait till the bigger reviewers get their hands on this to see what the performance difference is. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of talk about that subject and the comparison. A couple of the other guys I've been watching that's been talking about this, some of the bigger YouTubers, I think there's going to be a catch to these processors. I don't know what it is, but of course they got inside sources. So we'll have to wait till they can start talking about them to see what the catch is. But I think there's something else more to these processors than what we know of. But time will tell, you know. And of course, you know, as soon as they lift that embargo, you know, the bigger YouTubers that get these things and do the testing with, they're going to let us know what the caveats is to it. And like I said, there's going to probably be a lot of people testing these things against that 1600 AF, and probably the 3600 and the 2600 and the you know, anything that's in that price range. That's pretty well the only article I got for today. I found a few other things, you know. Minecraft RTX came out, which you want 60 frames per second in that game, even with RTX on, you need a 2080 Ti. There ain't really much to talk about. You know, RTX is definitely still wiping the floor with any game that you turn RTX on with. Even a even a light load game like Minecraft is. So I didn't really see no sense in talking about that. And I didn't see nothing new on the i3s that's coming out here, Comet Lake or whatever they're calling them. I didn't see no new news on them. You know, there ain't really no video launches going on right now or anything. So that's about the only article I got. So if you have any questions or comments you'd like to throw in chat, and I'll get them covered for you. We're going to jump into the comments for this week. Let me get you flipped over here where you can see what's going on. Alright, starting out, 6 days ago, if in the BIOS update process my PC shuts down or the file is corrupt, or any way to recover the corrupt BIOS by flashing the BIOS via USB on this motherboard. Good work, by the way. Oh yeah, if I could butcher your guys' name while I'm doing this, I'm sorry. I ain't very good with names. If you guys are watching my other live streams, I've said it about every week. That's from Gaming Link, Gaming for Life. That was on how to update the Gigabyte B450 DS3H motherboard BIOS. And if something would happen, you get a corrupt file or something, there's no way to reset this, redo it on this motherboard. If you're in the middle of updating the BIOS, you lose power or whatever, it's a brick motherboard, you gotta send it back and get it reshipped. There is ways around that, but it's above my knowledge. You have to have specialty tools and whatnot to be able to do it. You know, I mean, if you look it up, there's ways. There is ways to do it. There's ways to work around that. But being one of the newer motherboards, you know, I wouldn't take a chance on doing the process. And I don't know the process actually. I've seen a few other videos on how to do that and whatnot, but I never dove that much into them. You know, this don't have the flashback option on the back of the motherboard or nothing like that. So if you get a corrupt BIOS, that's why I always recommend going to the Gigabyte website to get that BIOS. Most generally, that you're going to get a good BIOS from the manufacturer of the motherboard. But thanks for watching and thanks for the video. And of course, I'll go back and I'll type back to all these guys as well. Okay, we got Chris Hedges. 6 days ago, it was on last week's live stream. The AMD Ryzen 3 meets the Zen 2 and the B450. Key to good overclocking is inhaling a hubu fort at the right time. Alright, that sounds about right to me. I don't know if I like inhaling a hubu fort, but okay, we'll go with that. But thanks for watching, thanks for the comment. Let's see, I guess that's supposed to be Stream. He typed in the chat. Hi! How you doing, Stream? Glad you were with me this morning. Glad you decided to come and hang out with me this morning. I hope you're having a good weekend and everything's going well with you. I hope this being locked in your house ain't killing you too much. Okay. Let's see here. Next on our hit list is Lucas Akokaki. I guess the way you pronounce that. He commented on how to overclock the Ryzen 5 2400G B450M DS3H port 2. I don't speak English, but I subscribe to your channel. Good man. Well, thank you for subscribing to the channel. I hope the translation works pretty good for you can get the information that I'm trying to provide for everybody out there. But thank you for watching. Thank you for the comment. Thank you for the sub. Appreciate that. 5 days ago, we have Beggar Jack, Gigabyte B450DH motherboard that I bricked my motherboard. When you use NVMe drive, it takes away one of the SATA ports. Yes, if you put an NVMe drive in this, you do lose the #1 port, or I think it's actually SATA 0. It disables that port, so it does knock you down by one SATA port connection on the motherboard. Thank you for watching. Thanks for the comment. Streams replied back in chat. Well, staying inside has given me more time to watch YouTube. Yeah, I understand that one, buddy. I truly understand that one. Yeah, since this whole thing's happened, my views really went up through the roof, and I look through my analytics quite often. My subscriber counts is up way beyond what they normally are. My views is way up beyond, so it tells me a lot of people is watching YouTube. And for my views to go up as small as this channel is, that's saying something. They must be getting really bored to watch my videos, right? Alright, next on our hit list here. 5 days ago, Daniel Alberto Camacho Contrasta. How to overclock Ryzen 5 2400G on the Gigabyte B450M DS3H port 3. B450M DS3H with the Ryzen 7 2700 is good AOC. No, after doing my overclocking on this motherboard, I don't recommend this motherboard for OCing on it. It is capable of doing it. You can get, I overclocked the Ryzen 2400G on this board. I also had the Ryzen 7 2700 overclocked on this board. And with the Ryzen 7 2700, I actually got better performance out of AMD Ryzen Master than what I got out of doing it on the motherboard. And the temperature wasn't a problem. Last week I had someone ask, or commented that, I'm overclocking on the stock heatsink. It ain't the heatsink or not being able to get rid of the heat that was causing me not to be able to overclock it any further. It was the fact that the VRMs on the motherboard, or the power delivery on the motherboard, wasn't strong enough. I got the Asus X470 Pro Prime, I think it is, in the system now. I want to do an overclocking on it, but I can't. Even with the Hyper T4, I've tried the Hyper T12, 212, and I can't overclock on it because it puts so much voltage through the system that them coolers ain't big enough to be able to handle to get rid of the heat. The heat's holding me back from being able to do it. If you got the Ryzen 7 2700, I'd get you a better overclocking motherboard. If you're looking for overclocking, in the last few years, Asus has really been the prime go-to if you're looking to actually do any overclocking. I mean, even some of the cheaper Asus boards. I haven't really got into overclocking a whole lot myself besides the last couple of years. I've never had anybody ask me, hey, what are you charging me to overclock my system? So I haven't never really got into overclocking besides the last couple of years. But I'd recommend getting an Asus board for the overclocking. And, this one, the Gigabyte B450 DS3H, it's a good motherboard, good starter motherboard. It's a solid motherboard. I had no problems with the motherboard. It's just overclocking just ain't there because it don't have the power delivery that it needs. Thanks for watching, and thanks for the comment. The Beanie Nation, 5 days ago. How to overclock Ryzen 5 2400G on the Gigabyte B450M DS3H. Does this work with the 2600? Yeah, it does. You pretty well overclock any processor on the motherboard the same way. It all, that kind of varies between motherboards, but any processor you have that's overclockable, you can overclock it the same way on the motherboard, regardless of which CPU you have. I mean, overclocking on a motherboard is overclocking on that particular motherboard, or even that random motherboard. A lot of Gigabyte motherboards, even if you go with some of the higher end Gigabyte boards, they still have the same BIOS, or close to the same BIOS. So, their videos kind of go with any Gigabyte motherboard. Pretty well, it's basically across the board with any, but they have different namings for each setting and whatnot. So it may kind of throw you off if you're going with another brand of motherboard. But as far as Gigabyte goes, most of their BIOS is set up all the same way. So yeah, they'll work with the 2600. But thanks for watching, and thanks for the comment. Cycle Potato, I guess is the way you pronounce that one. How to overclock the Ryzen 5 2400G on the Gigabyte B450MDS3H. Instead of clicking, just type the number into the BIOS. Yes, sir. I have figured that out. If you watch the whole series in part 3, I actually figured that out. Somebody else commented that and corrected me on how to do that. But I do want to thank you for watching, and thank you for the comment. Let's see here. Who we got next? Charlo Max Rachel. Benfield? I don't know. Sorry, I butchered your name on that one pretty bad. How to update the BIOS on the Gigabyte B450DS3H motherboard. Very helpful and great job. Keep it up, man. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. I plan on keeping it up. I want to thank you for watching, and thank you for the comment. I try to put out information that people find helpful, and try not to steer you in too bad of a direction on it. Which, this overclocking on this Gigabyte B450, I was kind of learning as I went, so that's why it ended up being a 3-part series. Looks like they also commented on how to upgrade your motherboard. That's when I went from the Gigabyte B450 to the Asus X470. Says, thank you so much. You helped me so much. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and thanks for the comment. Who else do we got here? Nelson Lemus. How to update the Asus BIOS Asus Prime X470 Pro. Mine is at V4804. When I'm in the BIOS and trying to click on the file, it freezes on me and won't open the file so I can update it. Do I need to download another update before this? Before the newest one? No. At Asus board, if I'm not mistaken, let's see here. If I'm not mistaken, it don't say nothing about needing to do, stepping it up like the Gigabyte B450 did. See all downloads. Show more description. Nah, I don't see nothing in there where you'd have to upload, update it to a certain one before going beyond it to get up to the newest. You should be able to jump straight up to 4506. There, that should be the latest one. I'm sitting here looking at the website now. That should be the latest one for that. I don't see no notes where you have to download one to get to the next one like the Gigabyte motherboard had. Yeah, you should be able to. If you're having problems seeing that file, I would, it freezes up. I'd make sure it's in FAT32 format on the flash drive, and make sure you extract the file onto it, because sometimes if it's formatted in NFTS, it won't recognize the file. And of course, if it ain't, ain't unzipped, it don't have the actual proper file on it to upload. Yeah, your view are climbing fast. Congratulations. Well, thank you, stream. Appreciate that, buddy. Yeah, the last couple of weeks I've actually been off work, so I got a few extra videos out, but coming next week, which I'm gonna get into at the end of the stream. But I'll go back to work next week. But yeah, my views are climbing pretty good right now. Thank you, Nelson Lemus, and thanks for watching. And I hope that helps you a little bit, buddy. And thanks for the comment. Let's see here, Richard Bentley. 3 reasons why to buy the RTX 2070 Super for the 1080p gaming and streaming system. Great video. Thanks for the helpful information. You're welcome. I hope you got some value out of it. Sound like you did. I want to thank you for watching, and thanks for the comment on the video. Gabriel A. Alavis, 4 days ago. 3 reasons why to buy the RTX 2070 Super for 1080p gaming and streaming. Good content. I feel that the RX 57 XT would also be great. Would be a good call for 1080p gaming and streaming. Frank Garnett came back and said not streaming. Well, I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and thanks for the comments on the video, first of all. The RTX 5070 XT would be great for 1080p gaming. Streaming be alright as long as you got a big enough processor, because you still want to use a 264 encoding process. You know, as much as I enjoy AMD, I mean, you know, I ran the RX 580 for the longest time. I had the R9 385X before that one. You know, the software for encoding ain't up to snuff within NVIDIA's. It's great 1080p if you want a high refresh rate. It's good for 1440p gaming. It's good for for entry level into 4K gaming. But as far as the streaming process, you still have to depend on your CPU, because their encoder just ain't quite as good as what NVIDIA's got. I mean, you know, as much as I like AMD, and I'm not a fanboy of either side, you know, this is the first NVIDIA card I've owned. I've always had AMD cards, but I particularly went to NVIDIA for that new NVENC encoder for my streaming, which I'm going to touch more on that there at the end of the live show too. But yeah, I mean, that's great for 1080p high refresh rate, good for 1440p gaming, good for 4K. But still, yeah, the streaming process, you still have to use the 2x264 encoding for your CPU to do the processing. Their software just ain't quite up to stuff. But thank you guys for watching, and thanks for the comments. Dragon Lord XV, which I guess, well, Roman numerals, that'd be 15. How to overclock your RAM on the Gigabyte B450M DS3H motherboard, so it does not support 3000 megahertz frequency. If you look at the specs on the motherboard here, where's it at? Probably be easier to go through something like Newegg to find this. Let's see here. I don't believe it has 3000 megahertz RAM listed. Oh, why is it doing that? That ain't what I copied. There's what I copied. Here we go. B450 Ultimate Durable DS3H motherboard. Oh, excuse me, guys. Yeah, come on. Let's scroll all the way down. I know, come on. There we go. I'm getting there, guys. Bear with me. Alright, here we go. Memory standards. What it accepts. DDR4 3600 OC, 3466 OC, 3200 OC, or the standard 2933, non-overclock, 2667, 2400, and 2133. So, it ain't listed as supporting 3000 speed memory. The 8 gig kit I actually had in the system for the 16 gig kit I had in the system was actually running at 2666 out of the box, and it was a 3200 megahertz speed RAM. It ain't listed as supporting 3000 megahertz speeds, but if you get 3000 megahertz speed, you could downclock it at 2933. 2933 and 33. 2933 and 3000 megahertz, you probably ain't going to see much of a difference in the performance of it. But actually, you know, as far as it don't say it supports 3000 megahertz. But actually, let me get their website pulled back up. I want to show you something. I know, I'm being picky now, you know. Alright, where's the QVL list? CPU support. That have the RAM support on it. And that don't have the RAM support on it. But there is 3000 lists, 3000 megahertz lists listed for the QVL here. The motherboard rate speed right there, 36. There's 3600, 34s, 32s, 32s. They do have quite a few lists of 3000 megahertz speeds listed that this motherboard will run with, even though it don't say it in the specs. But I mean, all these right through here is all 3000 megahertz speeds that runs fine with as far as the QVL goes. So if you get a 3000 megahertz kit with this motherboard, I think you'll be pretty well safe. I mean, I can't guarantee it. There's no guarantees in life, especially with Ryzen and memory compatibility. And it also depends on the CPU you're running. But yeah, you know, on the QVL list, it has been tested with a lot of 3000 megahertz speeds RAMs, and it's tested fine. Of course, I've learned over the last couple of years of dealing with AMD Ryzen, that don't mean it's going to work like it should. But there is quite a few 3000 megahertz speed RAMs listed on the QVL for this motherboard. Thanks for the watching, and thanks for the comment. Streaming, just curious, how long have you been interested in building computers, and what inspired you to post videos about it? What was it? Back in 1991, 92, when I was in high school, I got into computer repair at a Votech school here locally. Got me into working on computers and building computers and all that good stuff. I should have stuck with it, and I should have done it professionally, but I didn't. I've always done it kind of on the side and this and that. So I got quite a few years in building computers and working on computers. I still do it on the side. You know, I mean, so my experience with building computers, and what actually got me into building computers, my first computer was a Commodore 64. If you know what that is, you're about as old as I am, and that's just about as old as the tree I'm looking at outside my window here. You know, and what inspired to do videos about it, I've always liked the behind the scenes stuff that I've seen other people doing, and I figured I'd give it a try about making videos. And you know, I'm pretty well an invert, which most people that's into tech is an invert. What I mean by that is I like people, but I don't like to be close to people. You know what I mean? I like my distance. You know, just being at home all the time, I'm happy with it. And computers and computer games and whatnot was my safe haven. I got bad legs. I talk a little funny. I look a little funny, of course, but, I got picked on a lot when I was a kid. When you get picked on as a kid, you got two choices. You either put up with it and deal with it, or you fight back. I'm the kind that I fought back, and I became known as a fighter, even though I wasn't. I was just defending myself, defending my pride. But computers and games and whatnot was always my safe haven to come back to, where, even since I started YouTube a few years ago, I've had maybe a couple bad comments. I kind of brush them off and keep going, In real life, I can't brush off the stuff that I was going through. In real life, you come up to me and you start making fun of me or whatever, you're going to get nailed. I'm going to deck you. That's just the way it is. And the videos give me an outsource. Like I say, the games and the computers has always been my safe haven. So, I guess you kind of say I'm hiding behind the screen. But it ain't because I don't know how to fight. It ain't because I don't like to fight. I don't condone fighting, Of course, times are different now. Now, nobody fights anymore. Somebody just pull a gun out and shoot you. They don't even fight anymore. But I always, I seen how people was doing behind the scenes and whatnot. It looked like it was fun, so I started doing videos on it. That's one thing I'm good at and I know a good bit about. And if I can share my knowledge and just help a couple people out, I'm happy with that. I like making other people happy. I like helping people as much as I can. And it don't cost much for me to do this. It cost me some time. I got, $700, I think it was. I just put out a video about what I used to make my YouTube videos. I think like $700 I got in the equipment. So there's a little bit of upfront cost to do this, but, it still don't really cost me a whole lot besides my time. So it ain't too bad. But I hope that kind of answers your question. Let's see here. GK Store B450 Urus Elite Ryzen 5 3600X overclock. Okay. B450 Urus. I think that's got a little bit better power delivery on it than what the B450 DS3H motherboard has. So you should be alright with that combination for overclocking. And as far as what you can get out of it, I don't have the motherboard, I don't have the CPU, I can't even give you a starting point on where to get started with it. But the Urus Elite, that is a better motherboard. I do believe it does have better power delivery, so you should be able to do pretty good with the overclocking on that 3600X. I hope that kind of helps. Stream, yeah, thanks. Always interesting to hear people's backstories. Yeah, a lot of my backstories I keep hid. I gave some of it out there, but that's plenty. You know what I mean? I'm pretty backwards kind of guy. Alright, who else do we got here on the hit list? Okay, Dragonoid 15, I done answered him. I wouldn't even know how to pronounce that. That's in a different language, so I can't even try to pronounce that, which is probably a good thing. How to update the BIOS on the Gigabyte B450 DS3H motherboard. He says, good. Well, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and thanks for commenting. Elijah, I guess the way you pronounce that, ELLJH. 3 reasons why to buy the RTX 2070 Super for 1080p gaming and streaming. I'm selling my GTX 1080 to buy the RTX 2070. Now, I'm glad to hear that. That's kind of a sideways grade, but you are getting the RTX features, and it will come with a better encoding for streaming, if that's what you're aiming for. The 2070 that equals probably about what a 1080 Ti would be. It's kind of a side grade. It really ain't much of an upgrade besides you getting RTX and you'll be getting the ray tracing, and you'll be getting the better NVENC encoder for streaming if that's what you're wanting to do. But thanks for watching, and thanks for the comment. Let's see here. Turner Lewis X950. Cheap gear to start YouTube. What equipment I use? That's the one I was referring to a little bit ago. All I got from this. Well, okay, at least you got something out of the video. He must not be too bad, because he also commented, came back and said, by the way, all right, all. I'm not too sure on how to answer that. I'm not too sure on what he means by all right, all. And I think I cut out a lot of my stuttering on that video. I don't know, maybe I didn't give clear enough directions on what I use. But thanks for watching, and thanks for the comments. Appreciate it. Andre Bryan, how to get into safe mode from Windows 10 desktop. This man caused my computer boot into BIOS. Now I can fix it to boot to Windows. Computer to boot into BIOS. Now I can't fix it to boot to Windows. If you got a Windows hard drive, as long as you restart that computer or you shut it off and turn it back on, it should boot right back into Windows. Unless you went in and changed your boot order, it should boot right back into Windows. Sorry you're having a hard time with that, but either that or reset your BIOS. But once you get into that BIOS, you don't change nothing. It should boot fine as long as you turn it off, turn it back on if you restart it. But thanks for watching. Thanks for the comment. Sounds like you're having issues with it. I can fix it to boot to Windows. The man caused my computer boot into BIOS. Now I can fix it to boot to Windows. Either that or it's a good thing that I helped you fix it. Thanks for the comment, and thanks for watching. Let's see here. Text 1 day ago. How to overclock the Ryzen 7 2700 with the AMD Ryzen software. Thanks for the help. Well, you're welcome. Glad. Apparently you liked the video. I'm glad you enjoyed the video. Thanks for the watching, and thanks for the comment. Richard Bentley. The EVGA GeForce RTX 2070 Super Black Gaming unboxing and overview. Beautiful card. Wish I could get one, but pretty much every 2070 Super is sold out. So I'm stuck with my R9 Fury. And mine's a well wait for the next gen cards at the moment, since high chance they're about to discontinue manufacturing of all 20 series cards. Soon to start up the 30 series. One my hopes is that 3070 is the same price of the 2070 Super, are going to be a lot of people raging. Well, this the 30 series cards is right around the bend. You're looking at I don't know, 6 months or so now till they're launched. Why I went ahead and bought the 2070 Super was for my streaming. I like to get into doing more streaming, which I've been testing. But yeah, if you're actually looking for a 20 series card and you like the looks of this one, and you don't need all the BS, actually. The video coming up, I think I've talked about this. Oh, now it's out of stock. The other day, they still had them on NVIDIA EVGA's website for $500. I paid $519 for mine. But apparently they're out of stock too. Let's see here, RTX 2070 Super. Ooh, anything that's reasonable price looks like it is going to be out of stock. I know they got the EVGA's got the KO out, which seems to be a pretty good card. Well, there's a Gigabyte. Usually shipped in 3 to 5 business days. Zotac, which mine wasn't the cheapest one on the list. There's one for 500. It's in stock on Newegg. There's the KO. The EVGA came out with Super. This here's actually the one I've got, which I don't know if it's sold and shipped. Yeah, it looks like it's still in stock. It's $519. That's what I paid for it, which I didn't get mine from Newegg. It was sold by a third-party vendor because Newegg didn't have them in stock at the time. But yeah, there's a few of them that are in stock. But, you know, you can wait till the 3000 series comes around. Like I said, you know, 6 to 8 months. Depending on what you're doing with that card, you know, the R9 Fury, it's still a pretty decent card by today's standards. You should be able to play your games pretty reasonable. I mean, you know, as long as it does what you need it to do, I don't see much sense in upgrading right away. You could always hold off for the next gen coming out, which they're rumored to be about 40% faster than what they are this time around. As far as the pricing goes, we'll have to see where that plays out. Would I be mad if the 3070 comes out the same price as the 2070 Super? Nah, it's technology, man. Stuff happens, you know. You think people are gonna be raging about that? You think about the people that bought the 2070 when that first launched. It launched at a bigger price than the 2070 Super with less performance. And, you know, that's where people are going to get mad. You know, if the 37 comes out at the same price, I got a card that's going to last me for a while. I'll probably end up upgrading it here before too long, before I need to. But that's just me. I'm constantly upgrading and changing stuff around in my system. But thanks for watching and thanks for the comment. Entertainment Arena. I haven't heard from you in a while, buddy. You haven't been commenting or nothing. How to update the BIOS on the Gigabyte B450DS3H motherboard. Well, I have the same motherboard. How can I undervolt my CPU in the BIOS? I actually looked into this for you. I actually hooked the system up over there. When you first get into your BIOS, you're on the MTI, or go to the MTI tab. Go down to Advanced Voltage Settings. There'll be like 3 or 4 different options depending on which one you want to change. You pick the one you want to, highlight it, put your cursor in the box, double click on it, then use your page down button. If you hit your page up button, it'll tell you that overclocking, overvolting the components may do damage. But page down will actually decrease that voltage for you. Thanks for watching and thanks for the comment. Okay, we've got Sebastian Bentelza. How to upgrade your motherboard. How can I use the HDMI on the motherboard? The only way you're going to use that HDMI port on a motherboard is if you're running a processor that has integrated graphics. So you're looking at like the Ryzen 3 2200G, the Ryzen 3 2400G, the Ryzen 3 3400G. That has to have an APU or onboard graphics to be able to use that HDMI port on the motherboard. If it don't have onboard graphics, you ain't gonna be able to use that. If you got like the 2600 or anything besides them 3 or 4 I mentioned right there, you ain't gonna be able to use that HDMI motherboard. And if you got a graphics card put in that motherboard, it usually will disable the onboard graphics so we can't use them anyways. So yeah, like I said, there's only a handful of unless you go back to and unless you go back to, what am I trying to think of here? Unless you get one of the new Athlon chips that's the AM4 compatible, or if you have the Ryzen 3 2200, 2400, 3400G, You ain't gonna be able to use that HDMI port on the motherboard. Refresh it here, see if we got anything new that came in. It don't look like I got anything new to come in. There's my puppy coming in to see me. But this is going to pretty well do it for the comments for this week. Do you have any other questions or comments you'd like to put in the chat? Go ahead and drop them in there now. Because there's like a 90-second delay or something, you know, by the time you guys type it, it takes about 90 seconds for it to come through to me. I got my 2070 that I did the unboxing and overview of, put in the machine. I've been doing some testing on streaming some gameplay. I supposed to have been off from work for another month. They called me Friday to call me back, so it's a good thing. I gotta keep my electric and my internet on to be able to continue my YouTube. You know what I mean? And unemployment just don't pay what it should. But so it's a good thing, but it's a bad thing because now I ain't gonna really have time to really utilize that cord. I'm trying to find time to do some game streaming and whatnot because I do enjoy gaming. I do enjoy streaming. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy the interaction with you guys. You know, like I mentioned earlier, you know, doing it this way, interacting with you guys. If you piss me off, I can't punch you, so I'm safe. You know, I ain't gonna get arrested for assault or battery or whatever, assault and battery, whichever way you want to look at it. So yeah, there's that. There, stream. What are your main games? Right now, I got a walkthrough on the channel of Borderlands 3. You want up here? Here, say hi to the people. Say hi. Say hi. Say hi. Right now, I've got the walkthrough on the channel of Borderlands 3. I've been playing it pretty regularly. I walked through the story mode of it. Now I'm just trying to get my character to see what else is in the game and try to get him to max level. Of course, they keep coming out with new content, so I don't know if I'll ever actually hit max level on it. But it's kind of the blow them up and kill them type games. What's going on with my audio? Seems like my audio is peaking a lot. How about that? Okay, that's better, I think. But yeah, it's that kind of. Oh, thank you. You're a pretty cute dog. He's a pain in the butt most of the time, but he's pretty cute. Ain't you? You pretty doggy? Yeah, you're pretty doggy. Alright, get down. That's enough for now. I'll spend time with you when I get done. Yeah, Borderlands 3 is my main thing right now. I enjoyed Doom 2016 when it came out. Been thinking about getting a new one of that. The internal or external or whatever it's called, Doom Internal, I think is the name of it. I got the Borderlands 3 when I bought my Ryzen 7 2700 actually. And there was another game that they was offering. I could have picked Borderlands 3 or Outer Worlds, I believe is the name of it. Which they kind of look like the same similar game, but Borderlands I've heard of. You know, I knew there was 1 and 2. Well, I just never played them, so I figured that would be the better game for me. And I'm actually really enjoying that game. There Thursday and Friday. I did some streaming of it after the gameplay. If you'd like to, it's on the channel here. But yeah, them's kind of games I like to shoot them, blow them up, collect this, collect that. I enjoy the storylines behind them. You know, I like watching the stories and seeing how they develop throughout the game as you go. I've been actually thinking about putting the gaming over onto Twitch or something and just leaving this channel just for the technology, the computer builds, the unboxings, upgrading the machine, you know, stuff like that. I don't know. You know, I kind of figured, you know, building computers and stuff like that is kind of goes hand in hand with gaming. You know, most people building a computer at all is a gamer. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong on that. And I want to try to differize my channel a little bit different, because most tech channels are tech. That's all they are is tech. It almost seems like they never enjoy themselves, or they never, and I built the channel, I'm building the channel to, this is what I do. What I put out on the videos and whatnot, what I do, is what I'm going to do anyways. I just put the camera in front of me, I talk to the camera, and I bring you guys along for the ride. And games is part of that. It is part of my life. It's what I enjoy doing. Of course, before Borderlands 3, the last game before that I played was Witcher 3, which is, how old is that game now? 5 or 6 years old. It's been 5 or 6 years since I've actually sat down and played a game before I got into Borderlands 3. So I don't make much time for it, but whenever I was doing the walkthrough, which kind of sounds kind of stupid, but whenever I got into the walkthrough for Borderlands 3, it kind of gave me a reason to finish the game. It gave me a reason to enjoy life. How crazy is that, right? So yeah, that's kind of the games that I enjoy. It's kind of, I like the storylines behind them. I like to blow them up and to kill them, and the collection games, and we go around collecting your different hardware and your different guns and your different armor and all that. Back in the day, I was big into World of Warcraft. It actually became an addiction to me. So yeah, I had to get away from that one. That one I wouldn't do nothing besides play that game. As far as the streaming aspect of it, like I said, that's why I bought the RTX 2070 Super, was for I could stream it. And if it can stream Borderlands 3, that is very unoptimized, it should be able to stream any game out there. I mean, Borderlands 3 is one of the hardest games to stream. And what I did there Thursday, Steve 911, he's actually been on the live show a few times, commenting and whatnot. And he's commented on a few videos and whatnot. He was actually there watching me Thursday. And he said I look like a professional streamer with the way I had it set up. I don't know about all that. My gameplay surely ain't up there with the professional streamers. I died way too much. But I think I got that figured out too. I was thinking about maybe putting out another walkthrough through another game. But I'm enjoying that game, so I may stick with that game. I don't know, maybe I'll build another character. I'd like to see him get up to max level. Man, we'll see. I mean, when you enjoy a game, you kind of stick with it for a while. And they'll continue to get more content for the game, so I don't see much sense in changing games. So Borderlands 3 right now is my main game. And I know that kind of went on a little long on that one. Like I said, I'm going back to work Monday. The last couple of weeks I've been putting out a decent amount of videos and whatnot that I normally don't. Going back to work is going to kind of cut into the production, the time that I have to put into YouTube and streaming. I'll be here every Saturday morning, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, for the live stream for Hanging with Dave. There's been a couple times I've had to miss it because of family issues or whatnot. But I try to be here every weekend. It's going to be pretty bad if I don't show up, I tell you. It's, I dedicate myself to it, and I like to follow through with what I dedicate myself to. I do have, next week on the channel, I got the unboxing and overview of the RTX 2070 Super. Next week, I'll show you how to install the new graphics card. I take a little bit farther than most. It is an easy upgrade process. A lot of people think it's just the fact of pulling out the old graphics card, putting in the new graphics card. I take it beyond that. I take it to where I'll show you how to uninstall the old drivers for your display drivers and reinstall your display drivers. Like I explained in the video, you gotta have the software to back up the hardware. That hardware ain't gonna work right if you don't have the right proper software in the background. And I recommend removing the old drivers That way Windows don't get confused and try to run the wrong drivers with the new graphics card. Some people say it's a waste of time. You shouldn't have to do that. I put too much dependence into Windows as it is, a little low dependent, for them to recognize which drivers need to be ran at what time. So I do recommend uninstalling them drivers. And actually, the one video I put up last week about getting into safe mode kind of leads up to that one, because you got to get into safe mode to run the program I use, which is DDU. The program recommends you run it in safe mode. Safe mode pretty well gets you in before the display drivers kicked in, so it's easier for them to remove. So yeah, there's that. Also have another build coming up on the channel. It's kind of the same build that I've done in the past, but it's a little different. It's the parts where I've upgraded my system. I went from the Ryzen 2400G up to the Ryzen 7 2700. I got that processor. I went from the Gigabyte B450 motherboard up to the Asus X470 motherboard, which the main reason for that was more content for the channel and the overclocking abilities of it, which I haven't got the overclock, which I mentioned earlier, because of I don't have a good enough cooler for it. I went from the RX 588 gigabyte card up to the 2070 Super now. My RAM, I've went from 8 gigs up to 16 gigs up to 32 gigs. I got 16 gigs of RAM laying back here. I'm going to put a machine together with an old cheap case that I got set back here. It's a RAID Max case. It's going to be mainly mainly just for rendering out videos. Once I get the videos edited out and whatnot, I'll slap them on that machine and let it take however long it takes to render it out. That's going to be its main function. I'm going to throw some bigger hard drives in it for storage, to get because I've been running into problems where I've been trying to edit out videos and I get them up to the rendering part. Then when I put them on my main system to render out, I can't do nothing else with my system. So I'm hoping this will kind of, if I put it on that other system to let them render it out, which it can take as long as it wants, that still leaves my main system where I can still continue to do video editing, or I can still do some more filming, or I can be doing a live stream or whatever while that system's on the background over there doing the rendering part for them. So yeah, I got a build coming up for that. But that's going to pretty well do it. If you're new around here and you haven't already, make sure you get down there and hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell if you ain't already subscribed. Give me a dislike if you didn't like the video, whichever way. Y'all have a good weekend. Enjoy yourself. Be safe out there. And I'll see you in the next video or live stream.